As I mentioned in the last video, we're going to make another kind of klejner this time, Norwegian klejner, and this is the recipe, and I will link it down below so you can follow along while I'm doing this. From the recipe I'm also going to make donuts because the dough is really similar. The dough has to be soft and a little sticky and not dry at all. So when I'm finished kneading the dough in my mixer, I will spray a bowl and then I will put the dough in here so it can rise. And it will take from about half an hour to several hours for it to double in size. Now I will get ready to roll out my dough, and I'm always using this silicone mat on my table. And I will put on some flour, and before I start I will melt my fat. I have 1 kilo of pork fat or lard, and this is what I will boil the klejner and the donuts in. So instead of using vegetable oil that is maybe normally used for donuts, I will use this that is traditionally used in Denmark for klejner. So I will just start this up on the stovetop to get it melted, and it has to be at a certain temperature before I can boil my cakes in it. I have made about 4 times the recipe, so that is why I have such a big bowl with my dough, and that is also why I'm using so much lard. So if you were only making one recipe, you could also use a lot less lard. So now I'm going to roll out my dough, and I have my rolling pin and a dough scraper and just a little flour on my mat. I will roll it out to about a pizza size, so thickness of a pizza. And because I have so much dough, I will also cut it into smaller pieces, so I will only have about 1/4 of the dough at a time, or else it is just too big of a dough. And just like in the last week's video, I'm using this kind of small pizza cutter that is used to making klejner in Denmark. I'm also using these 2 cutters to make the donuts. So this is just like a pizza cutter, but it has some indents, so it will make it not just straight line, but with some small dots in it. And then first I will cut it this way and then the other way. So these will not be pointy as the klejner in the last video. These will be more square. But I will still make a hole in the middle and put one end through that hole. So you will see that in a moment. and then I'll just put them onto the side where they can rise just a little more. This is a yeasted dough, so they will rise, as you also saw before, and it can lay there for maybe 10 to 15 minutes, but if they are there for longer time, they will rise too much and you won't really see the nice pattern in them. So in a moment we will go on with boiling them in the hot lard. The lard is about halfway melted, so I will make my station ready here in the background. I have a piece of baking paper on my table and then a cooling rack, and then I will put on some paper towels on the top just to make sure that the excess fat will soak into that. So I will just continue with making donuts now. I only made 6 of the Norwegian klejner because it's just for us. The rest is for my family when we are going to meet up. This video is filmed in December, so we were all on Christmas vacation together one day, so that is why I have made so many delicious things in the last couple of videos. So now I'm cutting out my donuts, and we will also keep the holes so we can make kind of mini donut holes with another filling in them. And in a moment Preben will go on with boiling all of the donuts in the klejner. And it's pretty important that the lard has the right temperature, and you can also see that in the recipe which temperature is the right one. Because if it's too cold, they will suck up a lot of the fat and they won't taste good and they won't be baked all the way through. And if it's too hot, they will get baked on the outside but still be raw on the inside. So now that I have cut out a lot of these, I will put them on a baking sheet just to get them out of my way, and then I can continue on with rolling out more of the dough because I have a lot of dough. And now the lard is about to be at the right temperature, so we can start out with one of the klejner, and we'll just start with one just to see if it will bake up the way we like it. So it has to be baked about 1 minute on each side and then be nicely browned. So after 1 minute we will just turn it around and bake it on the other side, and when it's finished we will put it onto the paper towels. And this one looks perfect, so we can just continue on and we can bake 2 or 3 at a time. So it will get a little faster than just baking 1 at a time. And I'm checking the temperature every now and again just to be sure that we are still at the right temperature so that they will get baked the right way. And in the meantime, I have rolled out a lot of the dough, so it's all getting ready to get baked or boiled in the lard. So we are on to all of the donuts now, and I have both made donuts with a hole in the middle, but also some without a hole, so they can keep a lot more filling. And now we are about to be finished with all of the baking, and then I will make the fillings for all of them, and I'm making 4 different kinds. So this is the finished result, and this was also on the same day that I made the regular Danish klejner, as you can see, and those were from the last video. So now I'm going on to make the filling for the first kind of donut, and this is just heavy whipping cream, and I will put in some of the caramel that I made in the video where I made the cheesecake. So you can also go back and watch that one, so you'll see how I made the caramel sauce. So I'm just going to whisk it up to a nice whipping cream. Now I'm getting my piping bag ready, and I have this tip that is really pointy, so it's and it's sharp, so I can poke holes into the donuts and put the filling inside of them. And if you don't have an extra set of hands, it's nice to have some kind of bowl or something like that where you can put your bag in, so you don't have to hold it while you are filling it. And before I put in the whipping cream, I will put in some more of my caramel, just to make them really caramelly, so they will just taste so good. So first I put in the caramel, and then the whipping cream with the caramel inside, and then I will pipe it into all of my donuts. And I overfilled one of them, so this will be my taste test. And it is just so good, and it tastes so much of caramel, really soft and delicious. So if you're going to try just one of these filling recipes, I will definitely recommend this one. This was the best one. So for the next 3 ones, I thought I would do it a little easier. So I have this powdered cream mix. You just have to mix it with some milk. And then I have these 3 flavors, 2 different Baileys and an egg liqueur with the orange flavor. So I just mixed up 1 big portion of the cream, and then I will divide it out to 3, and this one is with the egg liqueur where I have the orange flavor, and I also had some homemade orange marmalade that I thought about putting in, but I don't think I did it in the end. If I should make these again, instead of the cream powder, I would just have used some more heavy whipping cream and then whip that up and put in all of the liquors in that, because this got a little too runny. The taste was really nice, but it was hard to fill the donuts with it. So if you're doing it, just make some more whipping cream and then put in the kind of liquors that you like. The first one was the tiramisu Bailey, and this one is red velvet, and that is two of my favorite ones. So they are just so tasty. And the little donut holes I filled with the tiramisu filling, and then I divided up the other two flavors for the other donuts. And I'm also putting on some different kind of glaze or different colors of glaze, so that you can know that the yellow one is the orange one and the red glaze is with the red velvet Bailey, and so on. So that just makes it a little easier when we're going to eat them. And this first glaze is just really easy. It's just some powdered sugar, and then in the first one I will put in some yellow coloring and a little water just to make it the right consistency. I found that it was a little too runny at the end, so I had to put in just a little more sugar to make it the right consistency, so the glaze did not just run off my donuts, but you will see that in a moment. I also put on some M&Ms just to make it a little more colorful. And instead of making 3 different bowls with 3 different glazes, I just reused this one. So that is why I'm starting out with the yellow one. It's the lightest color. Then I'll just put in some red food coloring into that, and then at the end I will put in some purple food coloring. So in this way I'm not wasting a lot of sugar, and I'm also not having too much to clean up. So that's why I did it this way. And this last one is my favorite. This is just cookie butter, just like biscuits. And I'll just put some of it into my bowl and melt it a little in my microwave. And then I'll just dip the donuts in that and put on some cookie crumbs on top. So these are the ones with the heavy whipping cream and the caramel. And these are definitely my favorites. They just were so good. Both the filling and the topping were the best of them all. And this is all of the finished donuts. And the cookie butter, even though it's melted, it will kind of harden up. It will not get hard as chocolate, but it will just harden up so it won't run off the donuts. And these are all of the other ones. I also made some pretzels covered in chocolate and some oatmeal balls, and this will come up in another video where you can see how I made that. So all of these things I brought to the gathering with my family, and they of course couldn't eat all of it, so we had a lot of leftovers, and some of it I froze down and some of it they got to take home with them because that was just too many donuts, but they were so delicious. And I really hope that you want to try some of these recipes. both the klejner, 2 different kinds of klejner, which are Danish recipes that are mostly eaten around Christmas time, and also the donuts and the different flavors that are made with the donuts. As I said before, just use the whipping cream instead of the cream powder. That will be a lot more delicious. And thank you for watching. I hope to see you another time again, and please subscribe and go and follow us on Instagram at Vestas Farm Life. Bye bye.